as we said at the beginning, for as long as there has been money, there has been fraud over money. And unfortunately, that's just going to continue to be reality.
Yeah.
So being proactive where you can, and then being quickly reactive when something happens, like what happened to us.
Exactly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Fisher.
And I'm Dave Fisher. We're a husband and wife team of certified financial planners, and together we make up Team Fisher Financial. Welcome to our new series we're calling And Money.
As both a concept and an object, money is a prevalent component of our world and intersects with so many areas of our lives.
By the nature of our job as CFPs, our days are filled with constant conversations around money. Conversations we think are vital for people to consider and understand for their financial universe and beyond.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of And Money. We have been out for a couple weeks and are coming back for our first episode. If you are new to joining us, my name is Lauren Fisher. I'm a certified financial planner, and to my right is my fellow certified financial planner and husband, Dave Fisher, and we make up Team Fisher Financial. On today's episode, we are going to talk about fraud and money, because
I've been waiting for this.
Yes, for as long as there has been any semblance of money or currency, there has been fraud around money, and that has been the case over the course of human history. So why don't you kick us off? What should we know about fraud?
Well, fraud, it's a pretty generic term for people lying, cheating, just throughout history, right? That's just what we've seen. Specifically with money, though, and it conjures up images all over the place, right? The emails from the Nigerian prince that needs a loan, and then you'll receive back tenfold whatever you provide. Like anything like that was way in the past. To I got a text message the other day saying you have an overdue, I think it was overdue toll fine. I'm like, no, I don't. And guess what? They're going to prosecute me to the fullest extent of the law and put me in jail. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I got a voicemail probably a month ago that they knew my dad's name, had warrants out for his arrest. And if I did not pay them in gift cards to appease whatever warrant, that they were going to show up at his door, they were in the neighborhood, and so I better call them back if I didn't want to see my father arrested.
Oh my goodness. That actually happened with a friend of ours, that he was actually told, we have your information, we have your social, birth date, we're going to open up these lines of credit unless you go to Walmart and get 2 $500 Walmart gift cards and send it to our address.
Yeah. And this was a phone call.
A phone call.
Yes.
And I mean, he was startled. He's older. He's just not used to that. So he starts to get in the car, and then he's like, no. He didn't say it exactly that way. He said it a different way than that. But he told them, no, I'm not doing that. And nothing happened.
Well, not nothing.
Oh, that's right.
They said he used some, what I feel was justified colorful language, and told them no. And then they said, all right, just one $500 gift card.
And luckily, he said no to that too and moved on with his life.
Hung up.
Yeah.
And nothing came
But
of
that's a scary situation for anyone to be in. So fraud can happen really quickly. It can generate a lot of emotion. It could be a jubilant emotion, like, hey, I'm getting all these returns, a Bernie Madoff situation. When he's actually not investing that, he's just taking it from the new investors and giving it to the old investors. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know anything about Bernie Madoff. And then telling people they had a certain percentage rate of return every year, guaranteed. That's basically what it was. Two, just the phone calls that come out of nowhere saying, like, I have your I don't know, I am your child. Scary situation. I am your child. I'm in a distress situation.
I need you to send money now.
They sound a lot like your child now, especially with the advent of AI. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. So
that reminds me. So there was this movie with Jason Statham that came out last year.
I love Jason
think.
Statham. I liked him before I had to trim my hair. I love him even more now that I buzz my hair. So it's great.
Yep. Yeah, he's a good looking bald dude, and so are you. So,
yep.
But he was in this movie called The Beekeeper.
I do love honey.
The start of the movie is it's basically this woman who gets a phone call from somebody pretending to be her bank.
Yeah, she's having an issue with her computer, right? Too at the same time.
But they've hacked into her computer.
Oh, that's it. Yep.
I can't remember the full details, and there's some parts of it that are heightened in terms of he's standing in this room with this like big computer and there are all these like hackers around him. So that part is dramatized.
Dramatized. I like the word.
Dramatized. For the sake of a movie.
Yeah.
But if you actually watch the interaction, how he plays on her emotions, he pretends to be a banker who's going to get fired if he doesn't have her go in and get access and all of these things. It's actually a very well done depiction of what a scam can look like. It's also just a really good movie. If you like
those revenge types.
Yes, if you like action movies. It's not one of his best. I feel like there are a few things they could have done better, but it is a great movie. And when I was watching it, I was like, that's actually pretty spot on with stuff we've heard and stories we've seen, things that we have experienced personally. So it's just interesting how well they got that piece right. I have a feeling somebody either experienced it or they did a lot of research to try to show it in a very realistic light.
Yeah. Well, I jumped in, but I think today what we want to talk about is what is fraud? What are some examples of fraud or stories that we know about? And what are things that we can do to protect ourselves? Just basic things.
Yeah. So let's start all the way back at the first known case of fraud in human history.
All right.
Was in 300 BC. And it was this guy named Hegestratos. I think I'm saying that correctly.
That looks right to me.
He was a Greek sea merchant.
Okay.
And he committed insurance fraud. So he went out, he had a boat, and you could go and get insurance on the boat and the cargo itself. So he got this insurance policy, but his plan was to sink the ship and take the insurance money.
It's like initial arson, or what people do, burning their houses down.
For the insurance money. Yes. So it was basically that, but with a ship. And so I don't know how, it doesn't go into detail, obviously, because this was 300 BC.
He wasn't live tweeting this.
I bet he would have, because apparently he wasn't very good at pulling this off, because he was caught in the act when he was trying to sink the ship.
Another boat comes along and like, hey bro, why are you trying to put a hole in your ship?
Or someone who gave him this policy was suspicious. I don't know what it was, but someone caught on pretty quickly, found out what he was doing, and he ended up going down with the ship that he was trying to sink for the insurance money.
Man, so that is a very sad story.
Maybe a little bit of poetic justice. Still sad.
Still sad.
Yes.
It's like I was thinking about this. Isn't this like the Greatest Showman at the start, where they have all those sunken vessels?
Oh, kind of. He was working for some shipping company and gets laid off because all of their ships sink.
Yeah. And then he gets the deeds to these ships.
Worthless, because they're at the bottom of the
But the bank doesn't know that yet. And they're like, hey, I'm going to start this crazy venture. It was a museum at first.
It was a wax museum before it turned into the circus. Yeah. Yes.
And they're like, we need something so that we can give you this money. He's like, oh, here's the deeds to all my vessels. And they're already sunk.
Yes.
That probably didn't happen in real life.
No, that's not what happened.
Of course you would know what happened.
One thing I like to do, if it's like a biopic or based on or inspired by a true story, I like to go read what about this was actually true, and there's some great articles about it.
Very normal. Yep.
Yeah. If you're watching a movie with me, you might see me on IMDb looking at all of the trivia, because I really like movie trivia. So I know weird things about movies. So what's funny about this, he's laughing because it's true.
Yep.
What's funny about this is it was actually the opposite.
Okay.
He was in the actual P.T. Barnum, is who we're talking about, who, like, you know, he has a very muddy legacy.
Sure.
But for
A
the
shady
example that
showman.
for the example that we're going with, what he actually did, he was in the newspaper business before he ever started the circus or anything. And he convinced somebody to give him a loan, this businessman to give him a loan, because he exposed someone else's stock scheme. It was a pump and dump scheme that he somehow figured out they were doing it, told this businessman who was being defrauded. And kind of gained that guy's trust.
Wow.
And I can't remember if it was the loan for the circus, but it's kind of funny that in the movie they show him as using fraud to get a loan, but in reality he exposed fraud to get a loan. But that's not as...
So we're glorifying fraud these days is what it is.
I get, yeah, because they're like, it's fine, he'll pay it back, he's the greatest showman.
Great ulterior motives.
Yeah.
The ends justified the means, right?
That's, you know what's funny? That's so much of fraud. People who engage in fraud, so much of it is they think whatever their end game is, usually...
At least the start of it, right?
Yeah, there's some sort of justification in their mind that what they're doing, the end that they have in mind justifies the means of defrauding people. Even though that's obviously not true or accurate. But yeah, a lot of times it's just, it's okay that I'm doing this because I deserve it, or I'm going to use this financial gain for something that I deem worthy or helpful or whatever. As stupid as that is, that's reality.
Well, let's fast forward a little bit from 300 BC to the more sophisticated schemes over time. So this is where we get Ponzi scheme from, Charles Ponzi and his investment scam in the scheme in the 1920s. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So the reason, obviously Charles Ponzi, that was his name. So Ponzi schemes are named after exactly what he did, which was exactly what you talked about Bernie Madoff doing, where you have early investors who come in and you claim whatever you're investing in. I can't remember what it was he claimed he was investing in. But as newer investors come in, they use the proceeds from those people to pay out older investors. So it's just this cycle. They're not investing in anything. Right. Whatever returns they claim that they have are completely false. They're just trying to get money in the door, churning out old investors by paying with new investors money, and then of course they take a cut,
a little skim off the top.
Exactly.
No
Maybe not a little. And people think they've gotten this great deal, but then what happens ultimately, the scheme unravels, and then who's left holding the bag? Whoever the newest investors are,
right? Who saw the proven returns of this investment, ironically. So the people that are like being more mindful about how they approach investing, they're like, show me the last 3 to 5 years, and they're getting in on a Ponzi scheme toward the end of that Ponzi scheme. They have no idea they're about to lose their shirt.
Yeah, which, to that point, the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme kind of drives me insane. And people have talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but if you don't know, he falsified financial records, they didn't have a custodian, they didn't have an admin. It was just their family claiming all of these insane returns, keeping these fake, they cooked their books to a crisp. I mean, it was insane. And if anybody had spent more than 10 minutes actually doing real due diligence on these people, it would have become so obvious. But people had FOMO. He had made a name for himself.
I was going to say,
trusted
what
him.
about people that were in the regulatory bodies that maybe have had family members invest, or they themselves were investing in
There were actually, I know there was at least one instance of someone who saw through it and tried to go to the SEC, and the SEC completely brushed him off and said, because it was somebody who was actually a fund manager who said, there's absolutely no way that this guy is making the returns he's making based on the investments he claims he's investing in, because I'm investing in the same thing. There's absolutely no way. The SEC just thought he was jealous and thought he was just trying to sink a competitor, when he really was just like, these numbers absolutely don't make sense. And they brushed him off, which is insane.
Yeah.
And so now, post Madoff, because I used to work in the hedge fund industry, the level of due diligence now that people are required to do is, they've overcorrected. It's almost laughable.
Yeah.
But there are things like that are super red flags now that nobody would have thought of pre-Madoff.
Like what?
Like having, if you are in a private fund and they don't have a fund administrator, huge red flag, because that means they're keeping all of the books internally and there are no third-party checks, which a lot of people, honest people, are keeping solid books, but now it's almost like it's completely unheard of to not have some sort of third party come in and at least give some sort of thumbs up.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
that's very interesting. So fast forwarding even more, like there's some things that I tend to hone in on. One of which is the US dollar for the longest time, and still today, has been the currency of choice for much of this fraud that's happened.
Yes.
Especially in the last 100 years.
Yeah, it's the reserve currency of the world. Most money laundering, well, not most, a lot of money laundering has happened in the US dollar. Has been the currency of choice.
What I find really interesting is now that cryptocurrencies have really started to make headway, and I mean, Bitcoin is at all-time highs, and people are saying, hey, this is the next currency of our generation. What that also introduces is a lot of fraud tied to cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah. They've even created a new term for crypto fraud called a rug pull. And there have been some very famous rug pulls.
I feel like that's not a new term though, right? A rug pull?
A rug pull is like a new thing for crypto that people talk about.
Okay.
Because before it's basically like a pump and dump, but specific to crypto.
Gotcha.
And
so we got diamond hands, then we got rug pull. And
yes. Because everybody needs their own term.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, there have been some very famous ones.
Like what?
The biggest one in terms of dollars was OneCoin. I can't remember her name, but she was dubbed the crypto queen.
Yeah.
They defrauded investors of over $4 billion.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all. Just $4 billion between, I think it was like 2014 to 2017. What they uncovered is that it wasn't actually a cryptocurrency. Like they called it a coin. It wasn't actually decentralized. There was no blockchain. Nope. There was nothing related to it. Was just they said, hey, we have this coin, come buy it. And then basically her and her like co-founder and her brother did a rug pull, took most of the money and ran, and left people with basically
what happened
nothing.
To her?
She's still on the lam. She is on the FBI's most wanted list with a $5 million reward.
So any of y'all needing some more for retirement out there?
If you have any info on the OneCoin crypto queen, go talk to the FBI if you can bring her in or get her convicted. She ran. They have no idea where she is. I'm going to assume she's somewhere where there's not an extradition agreement with the U.S. Her brother, was it her brother? Her co-founder? Someone did end up in prison for 20 plus years. So there was some justice that came from it, but yeah, they weren't able to really uncover almost any of the money.
That was a really big one. I think of the flash in the pan ones too. Like recently there was 3 or 4 years ago was the Squid Game coin or token that somebody
that long ago? Yeah.
Maybe that somebody came out with to basically capture all of the appeal of Squid Games. That was super popular at that time.
Yeah, that Netflix show. I did never actually watch it.
And that was a big rug pull. There was this girl that had a viral moment named Haktua.
The
one's
Haktua
ridiculous.
Girl.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea who she was, which like tell me that you're 30s with kids without telling me that you're in your 30s with kids. It's like there are so many of these pop culture moments that were just like, who? What? That was one of them. So it was this girl who went viral for some YouTube video, internet something, and there was something with like a Haktua thing that she did. And she became an influencer. Yeah. And then someone contacted her and was like, hey, let's do a crypto coin. And people bought in. I don't understand that. I do not understand some like
She
flash.
like went into hiding for a bit and came out with a public apology. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, but
yeah,
how are you going to buy something from somebody? Like, she had no background in finance, didn't know anything about crypto, and yet people put like $3.5 million or something in this, and they were like live streaming it as a rug pull happened, and then she was like, well, I'm going to bed, good night. It was so bad.
Yeah. Well, that's one category. Another category that actually I feel like it hits me more than most are scams on seniors. This one I see very regularly. I had a client reach out recently about her dad being forced effectively into one of those solar panel type things.
Investments.
Yeah, investments. It was a solar panel loan through a company. He has early on stage memory issues. And one thing about it is like these seniors, and if you Google this at all, seniors are being preyed on constantly in this industry. And for many of these salespeople, they think like everything they're doing is above board. It's totally fine to sell these free solar panels. And all they're doing is effectively scamming older people that have lost some of their cognitive wherewithal to be able to make good, sound decisions.
Or
in this area.
Their sales tactics are the amount of transparency.
You're being very nice.
Is left to,
you don't have to be.
They use shady sales tactics to get people to sign on the dotted line. They're not transparent about what you're actually signing.
And this is general. Like what we understand that there are some good salespeople out there, but it is an industry fraught with fraud.
Yeah, I think just as a general rule, when salespeople are willfully, I don't know how to say it. If you know that you can't be transparent and you know that you have to pick your words very carefully to get somebody on board, come on. Like, if you can't be transparent and you can't be upfront about this is what you're buying, this is the cost, this is how we're structuring it, that's shady. And you're preying on people not understanding that. If you're preying on somebody's lack of understanding, at best, that lacks integrity. At worst, it's fraud.
Right. And then going into more like general fraud pieces, people getting emails, like with the advent of technology, the internet, emails, making them look very similar to your bank, right? You're like, hey, it's from my bank. I should click on this link, type in my password, and all of a sudden some scammer has all of your information. They just deplete your account and get out of there.
And it's happening at the corporate level too. You'll see a lot of CEO emails or CFO emails being spoofed and sending like urgent requests to treasury departments or to employees saying, you have to wire this money to this account right now. It's imperative that you do it.
Right.
And if somebody is under stress and thinks like, oh, the CEO really needs this, I've got to jump on this, and doesn't like call up the CEO and say, hey, I got this email from you. Or like, hey, I got this request. This is out of the ordinary. Is this normal? Is this what you wanted? Kind of a thing.
I mean, it's not even seniors in this category. It happened to us. I remember very specifically. Well, it was a different type of scam.
It was a different type of scam.
But like,
we had nothing to do with it.
Right, exactly.
So tell the story.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So one day I'm working. And I was early in this career, actually. I'm working and I'm looking at my phone, and all of a sudden I see that, hey, something's not right. Like the LTE or whatever, the wireless signal just goes blank. Like it's SOS or whatever it is.
Like you don't have
I have no signal. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of the city. There's no way I just lost signal. This makes no sense. So I get online and I'm like, let me I'm going to call AT&T, and I use a landline. I call AT&T and they say, oh yeah, we had you come into the store, or no, it was somebody sent us a notification that from T-Mobile that you were switching carriers. I was like, I'm not switching carriers. And they're like, oh, then I would check all the other stuff that you have going on. So immediately I log into my bank and I see $2,000. And luckily they picked a small account that we had, but it's $2,000.
It was our savings account. It only had $2,000
Yeah.
in it, but it was 2 transactions of $1,000 each that had gone out.
That had gone out immediately. So I immediately call the bank. I say, freeze all further distributions. Luckily, they hadn't tapped our checking account. It was all, we had different investments and other savings accounts elsewhere, but like freeze it all. I call the credit card company. I say, freeze everything. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
I start changing all of our passwords. But mind you, they did this while my phone had no signal. I luckily was in an office with a landline.
And you called me from my office number when I was working at the hedge fund. I was prepping for a meeting.
Yeah.
And you called me and you were like, does your phone have service? And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm in downtown Austin. Of course, and I looked and it was the same thing. It said that SOS. It was what I think happened. Because we asked AT&T, we were like, how could you have possibly, without our authorization, just T-Mobile just switched it over to some different carrier. Somebody got access to our phones, used it to get a text message pin to get into one of our accounts.
Yep.
And they refused to admit it, but there had to have been somebody at AT&T working with somebody at T-Mobile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To switch this off. And it happened within 10 to 15 minutes.
Yep.
But and our bank saw that it was fraud, immediately reimbursed us. It was so crazy. I still remember I was supposed to be in a due diligence meeting. Somebody was coming to do due diligence on our fund. I was the director of operations, so I ran all of those meetings. And I literally had to kick it back to our founder. And I was like, I'm dealing with what looks like identity theft
or fraud
or something.
Knows, yeah.
I don't know what accounts have been compromised. And thankfully he was just like, whoa, okay, go do what you want to do. I'll handle this. But it was really scary how quickly it happened. And of course from there we took extra precautions on accessing our accounts.
Oh yeah.
Even though we felt like we had done a pretty good job, but
somehow they found a way in, and we were left without a way to contact them except for a landline nearby. So I was very, very glad for old technology in that moment. Yeah. Because if it was just cell phones, we would have been SOL.
Oh, we wouldn't have. Yeah. And if it hadn't been for I was at an office with an office line that you knew the number to, we wouldn't have even been able to contact each other.
Exactly.
So it was, that one was crazy. And thankfully it was only the small savings account, but we have felt personally the fear, the anger, the confusion around being defrauded.
Right. And it's just getting worse. We're starting to see AI change how people are receiving phone calls, how people are seeing videos. You already mentioned CEOs, CFOs are being spoofed online, and employees are believing it that, hey, I need to do XYZ. I need to send this money out. This wire goes here. And they didn't say that at all. Where we're seeing parents, grandparents getting phone calls from frantic children that they know their voice, but it was a different number. And they're saying, I'm in trouble. I need $10,000. I need $50,000. And parents and grandparents basically frozen, not knowing what to do. Of course, I'd support my kid 100%. But why am I sending it to this bank account? Why is it the call from this phone number? And what we're going to get into it, but in that moment, what you have to do is be like, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call my child immediately.
Call the source.
Yeah.
If it's a weird number, and don't assume that just because somebody knows information about you that they're legitimate.
Right.
The voicemail I got, they knew my dad's full name.
Yeah.
Somehow they connected the dots between me and him, and they said, your father, first and last name.
Wow.
Da 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 da. But I knew that it was just.
You knew.
I knew.
That's great.
But a lot of people would be freaked out by that.
Yes, immensely. And I think about all of these, the fraud that's happened throughout history. I think about all the scams that continue through today. much of it, which is now AI automated scams. They're just calling millions of people or sending emails to millions of people. Now the spoofing is becoming very prevalent. I really care about our clients. I really care about people listening to this. How do we actually protect ourselves in this world that we're living in right now?
Yeah, and there's some tangible things that you can do, because one of the reasons that they're preying on older people is not just people who may have mental faculties that are starting to go. Some of it is, we grew up, millennials and lower generations grew up with technology. So it's easier, and we're just more intuitive for the most part with what constitutes what feels funky, what seems a little fishy, than people who didn't grow up in the technology age, which is a lot of times like our parents' generation. And so there are some tangible things that people can do, even if you can't intuitively pick up on those things as well. One of them that we actually recommend regularly to clients is, unless you are looking to make a purchase where you need some sort of loan, like if you're going to buy a car soon, if you're going to buy a new house, this wouldn't apply. But if not, freezing your credit with all 3 credit agencies, and freezing your kids' credit too. Because if you do that, then it's a lot harder for someone trying to run a scam to steal your identity. It's really,
or at least even if they stole your identity, to actually do anything.
Exactly. Like they can't open up lines of credit,
credit cards like
on your behalf if your credit is frozen, because it flags something that, oh, they've frozen their credit, so we're not going to open up this account for them or whatever.
I think on top of freezing your credit, making sure that you are reviewing these credit reports. You can look at all 3 of them once a year for free. There are different groups that enable you to do it. Even banks have really caught on to be like, hey, we want to provide this as a resource to you. So they pay something very small to these agencies, to the credit agencies, so that their clients have access to it. So if your bank has optionality, or if you want to go directly to these 3 different agencies, just make sure you have a way that you're reviewing your credit report every year. And I'm not talking about your credit score. I'm talking about the report where you see like, how many times was my credit tapped for XYZ? That's very important to do.
Another one is, passwords, using strong passwords. This one's pretty well known. Like,
I'm going to use a strong password. It's going to be a capital P password, exclamation mark.
No, we're not talking about that.
Okay.
Also, not using the same password for every single thing. So many people do that, regardless of age. We know plenty of people who have used the same password for everything, every social media account, bank. That is a very dangerous practice, because then if your password gets out for one account, guess what? They've got your password for every account. So using like a password manager, like 1Password or LastPass, they have free versions, but they have premium versions that are
super cheap,
that allow you to, manage all of your passwords, generate new, like, very secure passwords. And then you don't have to say, oh, what was my password for that? I forgot my password. That's a big one. What else?
I would say, just like we already talked about, if you get a random call, even if it's your child, but it's from a weird number and they're asking something in distress for money, whatever,
email or text.
You get a text from somebody saying you owe X number of dollars on this bill, and you pay that bill every month. You get an email, anything like that, where they're requesting information, even a spoof email where it's like coming from your bank. It looks exactly like it. Why don't you just call the institution, call your person immediately, directly, and find out if this is real, because they'll verify. Sometimes I've called our bank and they're like, no, actually that is what we sent to you. But these are the things that you can do instead. I'm like, great, I'll do the instead version. I'm not going to go through that link. I just still from my IT background, I still feel very wary of anything I get online, anything through my phone. I want to make sure that I'm actually confirming that with the institution.
Yeah, or especially if you see your account has been hacked, come reset your password.
Yes. Yeah.
Another easy thing you can do with that is go look at where the email is from. Because a lot of times it'll say like Chase Bank.
Sure.
But then you click further and look at the email.
Well, you can just hover over it, right? And just be like, oh, that is from chasebank@gmail.com. You're like, okay, that's not right. Yeah, exactly. That doesn't work that way. And being aware of common scam tactics, yes. That is very important. So what are some of these common sales scam tactics?
So high pressure sales tactics, like we've talked about, people saying you need to do this immediately or this terrible outcome is going to happen. If it feels threatening, if it feels like they're trying to heighten your emotion to get you to do something without taking the time to think it through, telling you that you have no time and that you have to do it immediately, right. Or anyone asking for your personal information. If they're asking for your full social security number, your date of birth, anything like that. Yeah. That should be a red flag unless you know exactly who you're dealing with. For example, we have to gather certain personal pieces of information to open an account for our clients. Yep. But they know they are talking to us. They're talking to people from Schwab. And we've told people, if you're wary about it, we can put extra checks in place. We can make sure that this is as secure for you as we can possibly make it. Right. But if someone wants that info just out of the blue for no reason, they're contacting you without you somehow initiating, like you are opening an account, you want to work with an advisor or a CPA or something. Right. If it's just some call out of the blue, hey, give me your personal information. Yeah. That's a big red flag. Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to focus on too is, I think the request for the gift card or crypto.
Yeah, if they want payment in gift cards or crypto, that is not a bank. That is not a financial institution. That is not a government entity. That is a scammer. Yeah. The IRS is not asking for gift cards. And there have been a lot more scams coming where people claim to be the IRS.
Really? I'm laughing about that, but that's real?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Where people are like, you owe taxes and you're going to be put in jail. Which, like, number one, no. That doesn't happen unless you like commit major tax crimes that you like go to trial for. No, some IRS agent can't come to your door.
Fraud is hard to prove. Yeah, exactly.
But to the IRS is not
tax fraud. Yes, sorry.
But an IRS agent cannot come to your door and arrest you.
Yeah.
No. Anyways.
And then, last of all, be careful what you share on social media.
Yes.
Even if it's private, somehow people can find these things out. So if your pet's name is Lucy and you're like, oh man, all my passwords are Lucy 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, guess what? They might be able to guess that pretty easily.
Or one of your security questions. A lot of it is like, what was the name of your first pet? Or what's your parents' middle name?
Where were you born?
Yeah. What high school did you go to? Yeah. Those are all pretty common security questions that can be used if someone's like trying to reset a password. Yep. I actually remember there was this commercial that came out. It's been 10 plus years, maybe even longer. But it was this guy and it was like this room that was like all white and had these very soft lights. And it was some guy pretending to be a psychic. Yeah. And he'd bring people in and he's like sitting on this chair all like ethereal. And he's like in his head, just like, you love the red Mazda that you bought 5 years ago. And just like all of these these people are like, how could you possibly know that? And he like gets them to believe that he's this psychic who knows all of these like super personal details about them. And then the curtain drops and it's a room full of people on computers with a screen that's like showing pictures that people posted on social media, tweets that they put out. Wow. Showing like this guy is not a psychic.
He's putting together your world,
your online profile.
Oh my goodness.
I want to see if I can find it and we can maybe put it in the show notes. I just thought of it. It just reminded me. But yeah, it was really interesting. And I think it was some like credit protection agency or something that the commercial was for. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember all these people, and there were probably some people who didn't fall for it, but you know, they don't put that in the commercial. But these people were just like, oh, how could you possibly know that? It's like, because you put it online.
Well, and there are other ways to protect yourself for I would say more seniors. They have different things that people can sign up for. So if you're not wanting to go out there and be proactive yourself, there are groups that will do it for you. There are insurance companies, even cybersecurity insurance out there right now. So if you are in an industry where, hey, things can happen from a cybersecurity perspective, you probably want to make sure that you're insured properly. But all of that to say, there are lots of other things you can do to protect yourself, but it is important that you have people in your corner.
Yes.
Right? So you need to make sure that your family is in your corner and helping you, especially as you get older and this may not be as prevalent or you're not as focused on it. Having people that care about you and support you there, having professionals in your corner, such as financial planners, people that understand you, understand your finances, and can help you take the necessary steps, having probably the right insurance person, especially if you're a business owner that needs these levels of protection, having the right insurance person to care for you in that way. But overall, there are things that you can do even today to take the steps to protect yourself from fraud. But even in situations like ours, where there was literally nothing we could do except to be reactive, make sure you take the necessary steps quickly. You get the right people involved as soon as possible. Who knows what that might be? It could be a tech person. It could be legal. It could be your advisor. Just get people involved quickly to ensure that it's resolved.
Yeah. And as we said at the beginning, for as long as there has been money, there has been fraud over money. And unfortunately, that's just going to continue to be reality. So being proactive where you can, and then being quickly reactive when something happens, like what happened to us.
Exactly.
But this has been a really good conversation. Hopefully you've gleaned something from it. If nothing else, maybe just heightened awareness of what things you should do, or just things that maybe you're all set, but maybe a friend or a family member, a parent, a grandparent might need a little help, might need a little nudging towards.
Right.
So we are back on our regular schedule. We're going to start releasing weekly again. At the end of last episode, I did say I intended on retaining my crown at White Sands, and sadly it was not my year. I am no longer undefeated. Dave finally did it.
I finally did it. Took me way too many tries, but I got down that slope with the sled further than anyone. So even me and my daughter together. So
that one wouldn't have counted. I don't care. It is an individual sport. You did it on your own.
I did it on my own.
I'm going to put up your winning photo that we took that you deserve. But next year, I'm coming. I'm regaining my title. I can no longer claim to be undefeated, but I am going to regain it.
All right. We'll see.
We'll see y'all next week. Thank you for joining, and we hope you have a great week.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.